All right, guys. So I got a video exporting and it's literally taking forever. So I might as well try to go ahead and record this video. I kind of recorded it the first time, but I think my audio was a little too blown out. So I am redoing it. What we're talking about today, super simple. It's stop listening to idiots with a microphone. I'm not one of those idiots with a microphone. Please listen to me. But no, seriously though, like stop caring about what these guys who don't know you and you don't know them and are really just kind of like talking crazy or out of pocket or disrespectfully about people. Quit listening to them. I'll give you a first example. Let's get him straight up out the way. Andrew Schultz. Look, I used to like the Flagrant podcast. They used to have some really funny jokes. They used to talk about some stuff that was really interesting. They'd even bring on some really interesting guests. But over the past, I think like a year and a half or so, like they kind of just start to go downhill, and they kind of weren't as funny, which is really bothersome because I was like, yo, these guys used to be kind of funny, especially like with like Schultz's crowd work and things like that. Like he used to be cool, but I honestly think he got a little too big for his own head. Like I think he thinks he's like that. And he's not. And he got really weird, like in one of his recent episodes where he was like talking about making love to Kendrick forcefully, and like it's weird. I'm not even gonna put that clip in my show just because I just don't want it. I don't even want it in here. You go find the clip online. It's real easy to find. Everybody and their mama right now is talking about it. It's just super strange, and I don't know in what world threatening to assault a man sexually is funny. Like, especially coming from another man. You know, like I don't know where that's funny at all. It almost kind of felt like when Shane Gillis was on the show and they're making fun of kids with Down syndrome, and Gillis was like, nah, that's not cool, guys. Like, that's not funny. It's really odd, like, and really weird to say, like, yeah, I would forcefully make love to him, and like he really wouldn't have a choice. He would just decide if it was consensual or not. Like that's just a really weird thing. And his crew, who's sitting over there cackling with him, y'all a little weird too. Like you guys are a little bit too yes manny. And there are cats out here like defending Schultz who are like, oh yeah, Schultz, you guys take yourself too seriously. You're a little too snowflakey. And we're just like, shut up, bro. Like, that's not funny. And if it is funny, you might need to reevaluate your life. Like, there's no amount of like hilarity that I could ever have and think like if I threatened to rape a dude. Like, what? What kind of, huh? What? So I'm just like, start checking out who you guys are listening to. Start like reevaluating who you guys are listening to and what they talking about. Like these dudes out here who got microphones in front of them, somehow because of that, people have put them on this status and this elevated level. Like, nah, fam. No, not at all. These dudes are just dudes. They're just dudes. Like you got the morons over there at Fresh and Fit. Dummies. Absolute dummies. The way they talk about women, the way they see women, the way they coach men or tell men how to view women. Like if your main tactic into getting what you want or dealing with relationships is to put people down and tell them what their place is if that's like your tactic, you need help in Jesus. Like you don't get to use the methodology of like saying, oh yeah, things were better back in the 50s. Like, no, people didn't have rights in the 50s. Okay. Like, and these dudes aren't from America. So maybe they just like, maybe it's cool from where they're from, but ask any black man or black woman who's still alive today that grew up in the 50s. Ask them how good things were in the 50s. Ask any woman who didn't have rights was cool in the 50s. Ask any woman who didn't get to have an opinion, and if she did, she got popped in the mouth, right? Like, ask about that. Ask those people how dope it was back then, okay? That's the mantra. That's the things that people are saying. And I'm just kind of like, you sound stupid. And what's funny is that they bring these maladjusted people on and people who've got trauma, evidently. Like you can hear it in what they talk. They bring on the most trifling people they can find, and then they'll sit there and say, this is what all women are like, which is just not true. If you surround yourself with trifling people, that's what you'll believe your world is trifling, which in turn, personally to me, makes you a little trifling. Right? If I surround myself with gangsters and thugs and sit there and say that all black men over the age of 15 are gangsters and thugs, well, yeah, I guess I would think that until I step outside of that and go somewhere else and see a bunch of other black men that aren't gangsters and thugs. Like you just sound goofy. Stop surrounding yourself with trifling people and stop taking what dudes say about people who are trifling and applying that to non-trifling people, or apply that in a way that puts people down. Look, I'm all down for a good roast session. I grew up in our black household. That's what we did as a sport. We are professional roasters, okay? I'll be the first to cut you up, especially if your taste in music and TV and movies is bad. If you tell me your favorite rapper is Lil Wayne, if you tell me your favorite TV show is Grey's Anatomy, if you tell me your favorite movie is any live-action Disney movie, I'm cutting you up every day of the week. Wayne's trash, Grey's Anatomy's trash, and so is every live-action Disney movie. Trash. At me if you want to. Sound off in the comments if you want to. I tell you the same thing, right? But this is about stuff that don't matter. That's goofy crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's some stuff that's truly, it doesn't have any stock. I don't judge people in their life. That's a lie. I do judge you. I judge you. I judge you real quick. But I judge you in not a I'm better than you kind of way. I judge you in the fact that if you making bad decisions, I'm definitely going to be looking at you kind of funny. And if you're my friend, I'm going to tell you about these bad decisions you probably shouldn't be making. If you talk down to people, I'm going to judge you because I'm going to think that you are a low-class person. That's all those behaviors are. When you start talking down to people and start elevating yourself as if you're somehow better than them, you are a low-class person. Because you feel so bad about who you are, or you think you're that you got to elevate and say that you're better. Right? You got to sit there like, what was it? DJ Academics was out there screaming and hollering about the fact that he liked that as he degrades and talks down to women. Like, what are you talking about, son? Like, you obviously are an insecure, sad person who you feel the need to belittle and put somebody down in order to make yourself feel good. Stop listening to dudes like that. Stop listening to morons who will teach you that. Because guess what? At the end of the day, you're still going to be unhappy. You're still going to be seeking this happiness. Go get some help. Go get some therapy. And I get it, right? I get it where, you know, guys are at this high level of epidemic of loneliness, and guys don't know where these role models are to find, and it opens up the door for idiots like Fresh and Fit and Andrew Tate and other morons that are out there that are spinoffs of that to really get in there and get their hooks in. I get it. And it's super unfortunate because there's not, those guys feel that they don't have a safer place to be able to talk about these things or learn and have these role models. And it sucks. And I get it. I truly understand. But if you've got to listen to, if your go-to guy to listen to and take advice from is a man who has self-admittedly talked about all of the crimes that he's committed, I feel like you probably shouldn't be listening to him. Like, you probably should not look at this guy in awe and think how amazing he is. You probably should be questioning what he's saying. There's a reason why people are questioning. If you don't know what I'm talking about Andrew Tate, who literally sat there and admitted to all of the crimes that Ukraine literally was taking him, or not Ukraine, Romania. He was literally admitting to all the crimes that he did and why Romania was like, yo, we're taking this guy. Why the UK is like, yo, we're taking this guy. Like, he admitted it. He said it. He'd sit there and say, the way you get women is that you have to tell them that you're going to do this and that and blah, blah, blah. Like, he talked, like, Abba and Preach literally have a compilation that they made where it's just all the things that Andrew Tate admitted. And then wildly, absolutely insanely got in front of Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and lied to their face, and they didn't fact check him. They didn't, like, how do you get in front of somebody to interview them and then let them lie to you like that? You're supposed to be a respected journalist or somebody in your field. How is that actually possible? So either A, you ignorantly did not know anything and didn't do your job, or your team didn't do their job, and you just blindly went in and listened to a man lie to your face. Or B, you knew the crap that he was doing, and you are there to help push the narrative that he's not that bad of a guy. Like, you're one or the other. Either way, you're extremely stupid for it. Like, unbelievably stupid for it. The man, like, you know what that is? It is the fact of, I get caught on camera stealing from a bank. I start a YouTube channel and tell you about how to steal from banks and give you scenarios about times that I stole from banks. And then I tell you, after I get caught and arrested, it moved to Romania because you could pay the police off and it's not really a problem. I could say, hey, look, I'm not going to go to jail. I'm going to give you $100 and you're going to walk away. And they're going to do it. Like, which obviously didn't work out for him. So if I sit there and say, like, oh, I can do all this all I want, and then I get caught, go to jail, and I come out and say, I've never robbed a bank in my life, you guys are crazy. You have no evidence. Never did I ever rob a bank. I made all my money doing blah, blah, blah. Like, there's footage of me that they can play in the court. And then you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take no accountability. I'm gonna say, the Matrix is after me. They don't want you to know. Like, what? I just don't understand. I don't understand how you can, like, blatantly lie like that. When you're dealing with somebody like that and you're taking after that, I can't imagine. I bet a dude who was, like, really high level successful, right? Like, he was super successful in his life, and I'm not gonna, you know, he was, like, when I say he's successful, I mean he's making mid-level six figures, and I'm working with him to boost his online presence and all that stuff like that. And the cat tells me that, like, one of the people he loves to listen to is, like, Fresh and Fit, Andrew Tate, like the whatever podcast. He talks about how women have this place in life and this place in life, and that fact that, like, he was like, oh yeah, you know, like, I was vulnerable one time with a woman and she laughed at me. And then, you know, I knew I could never be vulnerable with a woman again. And they have this place in life and they have this place in life. And I was like, bro, all I heard from you is that you got hurt one time. So from that point, you just, like, done. Maybe the chick you was just with was a dickhead and you didn't need to be messing with her no more. Like, you can't take the one experience you had or the two experiences you had and blanketly apply it to so many people. Like, we live in a day and time where everything feels like it's either this or that. There is no middle. There is no, like, it's a bad sentiment. It's a way that things used to be, right? In those revered 50s when everybody was like, there was a much better time. Like, no, Black people were seen as less than people, right? They were seen as idiots and derivative from monkeys, and they're just not as smart as white people, and they could never do what white people did. But yet, we were the biggest threat that they could ever find. They would burn down a Black church and burn up Black children or drag them through the streets because we were this crazy threat, but yet somehow we were lesser, right? I don't know how that works in their minds because it was idiotic as it could possibly be, but whatever. And that's how that hive mind existed. And then all of a sudden, you would hear stories about how these white people would meet these Black families and realize that we're just alike. Oh, what? This black man named James, he also works as a mechanic, and he helped us out get off the road and realized that he grew up not too far away from me, and he has the same struggles that I have, and his wife does. Like, yeah, people, fam, people are people. Stop listening to this blanketed way of how to think. Think for yourself, right? And if you're like, yo, I don't know what to do, start therapy, start reading books, start discovering things about yourself. Figure out what's important to you, right? Figure out things that make you want to be a better person. Think more selflessly instead of selfishly. The way I run my production company is we put forth first how to help somebody else. The thing is, what I've learned is that if you help people, you are likely to get more benefit in the end. If you help people, not with the intent of like, if I help you, you'll give me money. I'll help you, you'll do something for me. It's, I'll help you, and if you help me back, great. If not, great. But chances are, for me, in my experience, is that I've helped people and I've gotten things back in return. And I help them just because I know that I would need the help. If I was in a similar situation and I wanted the help, I would want someone to help me. So I just help people. And I think if you, of course, there is a there's a way to do it and not be taken advantage of. There's a way of self-respect, but you gotta just think a little bit differently than just listening to what a bunch of people with a microphone say. Even me, I sit there and I preach the word of Jesus and I talk about relationships with God, but I'm not going to tell you to blindly listen to me. I'm telling you, check the stuff out for yourself, right? That's one of my big things is like people will hate, and I keep the same energy across the board, right? It's not just for idiots online. It's also idiots in the church. You get people who will sit there and weaponize the word of God and will change stuff up and say that if you do this, then this will happen for you. Or you need to treat people like this who do these things in that way. Like, you don't treat people bad. It's literally what the opposite of the book tells you. Jesus does not sit there and tell you if that person's gay or trans or doesn't live a lifestyle that you agree with, beat them, belittle them, talk bad about them. It says the opposite. Literally says love them. That's literally what he tells you to do. Love them. Be there for them. Try to help them if you can. That's what it tells you. And that's the lifestyle that I live is like, I don't care. Like, if I can help you, I'm going to help you. If you doing something different in your life that I don't think is beneficial for you, I'm going to tell you the same way I'm talking to y'all right now. Stop listening to fools with microphones that sit there and tell you a bunch of dumb stuff. Don't listen to your Andrew Tates. Don't listen to your Fresh and Fits. Don't listen to your idiots over at the whatever podcast that will tell a woman to endure in a relationship while she's getting beat by her man and then sit there and tell you that's not a common thing. That's a lie. Don't listen to morons like that. And women, don't listen to dudes who tell you that you have a little self-worth. Look, I'll be the first to tell you that there's a bunch of women out there, or a bunch of young women, who sit there and put themselves in situationships or do a bunch of sleep around because that's how they feel that they can get a man, or they just want to feel something, right? But don't, because you still end up feeling some level of empty in the end, right? You're still looking for something that you're trying to fill it with something else. Like, don't put yourself in a situationship. Don't let some dude who's just stringing you along do that. Like, what? You're worth way more than that. And I'm sorry that if nobody's ever told you that. Look, I'll be the first to sit there and tell you. I tell my wife all the time, I go, yo, I don't get it where like somebody says something positive. If I don't know this person, I don't know this stranger, and they're like, yo, you're doing such a great job, you're worth more than this. I said, it don't hit me like that, right? And she said, well, some people just need that. Because she said, you grew up with having a good support system. You actually have a good support system now. And some people don't have that. Some people don't have a support system around them that has their back and lets them know how much they're cared and how much they're loved and so many things. And I go, you know what? I never thought about it like that. I never thought about the fact of how many people don't hear those positive things in their life, how long they'll go without somebody telling them how great of a job that they're doing, or they're doing a good job, or they are a good person, or they have so much love for them. Like, I've been around that my entire life. I've got a very affectionate family. I've got a very affectionate group. We all roast each other on a daily basis. We talk crap to each other day in, day out. But at the end of the day, we all love each other and got each other's back. And it literally at any point in time, if somebody calls and says, hey, I need help, nine out of 10 of us are on the first plane out. That one may not he might take another extra business day to get that money out of savings. You know what I'm saying? Like, but seriously though, like, I get that there's a lot of people who don't have that. And so they seek for that elsewhere, and they look online and they hear these guys who appeal to them in their time of need and say things that maybe they identify with, or they end up getting brainwashed by it. But at the end of the day, like, if the methodology to get what you want has to do with you putting people down and belittling them, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. It probably is not beneficial for you in the end, because at the end of the day, you're still not going to get what you want. You're still going to be sad and unhappy. And you look weak. So find better role models, read books, find ways to help elevate yourself in a way that doesn't put others down. Work on you without hurting others and looking down upon them. And ladies and men, put self-worth in place, man. Like, you feel that you need some help, get some therapy. If you had a bad childhood, get some therapy. Please. It'll help you in the long run. And if you don't like your therapist, find a different one. But just please, just take care of yourselves, guys. Stop listening to morons with microphones. Stop listening to people who talk about raping people and think it's funny. Stop listening to dudes who put women down and think it's funny. Stop listening to ladies who put men down and think it's funny. It's not. It's not. Women talk down about men all the time. Men talk down about women all the time. Who's that helping? Who's it helping, really? And I'm the first to talk crap, okay? I am a certified trash talker. I'll cut you up and roast you up at the drop of a dime. It is a professional sport for me, and I love it. But there's a time and place, and there's a people to do it with. Just stop. If you want better relationships, if you want a better life, stop thinking selfishly. There's a time and place to be selfish. It's not all the time. And it's not selfish to want to take care of yourself. If you're in a bad situation, if you're dealing with toxic people, be a little selfish. Get out of that. And just read some damn books. If you guys are really interested in some self-help books, some self-care books, let me know. I'll put them in the chat. Like, this is live. I'll put it in the comments, guys. And I want to hear what your thoughts are. I want to hear your feedback. I want to hear what you think about these things. And if you are somebody who listens to these goofballs, tell me why you listen to them and tell me what you're getting out of it. And I bet you $20 I can find a better alternative. All right? So thanks, guys, for listening. Much love. Tell me what y'all want to talk about, man. Like, let's talk about it. You know, this what this podcast is called. Podcast is called Let Me Talk to Him. I want to talk to y'all. This is the dialogue. Deuces. Yo, this cat sat up in there and said, yeah, you know, if women are getting beat, then they should just endure. Because the God says, like, what? Shut your goofy, boy. You almost got me cussing out. Get the fudge out of here, boy. You need to get beat. You need to get beat. I'm going to put you in a relationship with a man that'll beat you for about a year. And you just tell me, should you have endured or should you have left? Is it going to make you a better person getting your freaking teeth knocked out? I know some UFC fighters that